We get to meet a lot of awesome characters while filming. Piper is one we'll never forget. He loved working in close proximity to choppers and jets.
You'll be fine. There we go. Thanks, man. All right.
Unfortunately, he recently lost a battle with cancer. It was our privilege to see him in his prime, doing what he loved, and I'm so glad I had my team there to help capture and share this story.
You gonna go get him? All right. Go get him, bud. Who is it? Go get him, bud.
Seeing Piper at work was one of the most interesting opportunities the Flight Chops project has afforded us.
Oh boy.
This content was meant to be a scene in a longer segment about animal control at airports, as we had some footage archived from when I nearly hit a turkey vulture a few years ago. But in light of having recently lost him, we decided Piper deserved his own episode. But first, a little context about how we found ourselves here. The earliest episodes we shot covered my tail wheel conversion training in great detail.
Definitely feels like my first solo being alone in this thing again, man. This is a lot of airplane after flying tricycle gear.
That led to us making films about everything from warbird training to aerobatics to formation flying and more. I simply wanted to share immersive flying videos that really explored the learning process as a pilot picks up new skills, and share some mistakes along the way.
I don't want to get caught by that crosswind again.
But it's really James, my director friend, who is to blame for this whole thing.
Oh, dude.
He told me you gotta put the U in YouTube.
Oh, thank God this thing's a tank. It handles student abuse.
So the stories would be more relatable.
What did it feel?
There's definitely nervous butterflies, there's no question about it. This airplane has a lot to handle, and I scared myself a couple times briefly.
The best learning happens when you're slightly over your head and you slightly scare yourself.
Now James is not a pilot.
I got good turkey vulture footage though.
But it was clear to him these massive birds near the airport were a problem. And he was inspired to start working on another story that would talk about animal control at airports.
Talk about the bird.
Today is a classic sort of thermaling day and the turkey vultures are out, so I was very aware of that. On climb out there was one that really almost got in the way.
Turkey vulture, man. Alright.
So what happened? What'd you do?
I had to decide whether he was going to dive on me because he was above me and birds usually dive, so I didn't want to do anything drastic. Plus I was climbing, so I can't really maneuver aggressively when I'm climbing. I'm slow and I'm low. So he kind of looked like indecisive. He almost dove and then he went that way and I went that way and we avoided each other. Meantime, all that other crazy stuff happened, including being invited to Traverse City by the US Coast Guard to take part in a rescue training mission in Lake Michigan.
Looks like these rotor blades are pretty high, but they flex. All it takes is a gust of wind to come down.
Yeah, wow.
Congratulations, you passed rescue swimmer survival qualification today that you can deploy out of a MH-65 Dolphin helicopter.
Even with all these amazing experiences, I don't think I've ever seen James happier than when he met Piper. We knew the airport had a canine unit, but we weren't sure we'd get to meet him. He was a huge Instagram star and very popular with the servicemen and women at the base. Luckily, his buddy and trainer Brian was very nice and generous with his time.
All right, so this is Brian and Piper has a pretty cool job as a dog. He actually has dog tags. He has an official Coast Guard nameplate. It's pretty awesome. So what exactly does he do?
Piper is a wildlife control canine that basically just chases stuff away and keeps them away from the helicopters and planes here at the airport. Birds, fox, deer, anything you can think of.
All right, so you're gonna go for a ride with James and show him how it works?
I think so.
Even though we just met him, it was clear that Brian was one of those unsung heroes of aviation. His dedication to Piper and keeping the airport safe was impressive.
I have to be able to answer anybody that asks me, how is it safe bringing an animal where you're trying to get rid of animals to help with safety? It's really hard to explain that to somebody that hasn't seen a working dog. So a lot of the training was running what are called termination drills, meaning that no matter if he's in the heat of a chase, running after a fox, one of his favorite things to do, he's running 20 miles an hour, I have to be able to yell to him and stop him and call him off. That's why we do training all the time. Even when we're at work, I'll have him chase a ball and then call him off of a ball, because a ball is the same exact thing as chasing a fox or a deer or a bird or anything. You're never done training, and you always have to do recurrent stuff to make sure everything is safe, because safety is number one. Obviously looking cool is like right below that, but safety is number one. Give me 5 out of ball. There we go. Thanks, man. All right, here we go. Up. There we go. Good boy. That harness is awesome. It was donated to us by Spike's Canine Fund, a working dog fund, and as you can see, we don't have a canine vehicle, so a regular canine vehicle would have a kennel in the back where he wouldn't have to jump up as high, but since we don't have that, that harness really helps save his hips, because I can lift him up in the back of the truck. Plus it also provides him with a little bit of abrasion protection when he's bombing around the woods after some deer. And then also, obviously, identification with the patches on the side. So we'll typically deploy them at about 10-15 miles an hour, depending, because our goal is to get a jump on something to have him actually chase it. It's not, eventually the animals learn what the red truck is and that what's in the back, and that they'll run off before we can even get a chance to chase them. We need to be able to actually chase them, so that's why we have to do moving deployments. You gonna go get him? Yeah? You gonna go get him? All right, bud, go get him, bud. Go get him, bud. Looks really cool. It's like a missile launch. If we come up on a herd of deer, then I'll get him worked up like that, so he's got all this energy that when he jumps out, he runs right after him and barks and everything, which is exactly what we need. When he's doing his patrol work, I keep the truck in between him and the runway, so that, you know, if he does come up on something that he starts chasing, or he starts going towards the runway or something he's not supposed to go, I can physically block him with the truck, because he's never on a leash here, so it's all with my commands. Reload. You gonna go get him? All right, go get him, bud. Who is it? Go get him, bud. Usually he comes upon something that already has a tunnel network built, so they can escape much faster than he can dig. Get it, bud. What's down there? Go. He gets pretty tenacious with it, and you can see his technique. He bites off the top layer to make it easier for him to dig down. And then once he gets too much dirt, like on his hind legs, he'll kind of take both arms and bucket it back. When I let him go, I just let him go for fun. He's dug a couple that he's been completely underground, and all you can see is his tail coming out of the ground. It's pretty funny. Yeah, he's definitely an excavator.
The Flight Shops team was sad to hear about the loss of Piper, but we were so glad to have been able to spend some time with him. We want to dedicate this episode to Brian. He couldn't have been nicer, and it was striking to see how much he was respected at the Coast Guard base. A dog as special as Piper could not have achieved such success without a one-of-a-kind person like Brian guiding him. So thanks, Brian, for your generosity, your time, and for keeping everyone safe in Traverse City. If you'd like to make a donation to a good cause in Piper's name, check out Spike's Canine Fund. It's a wonderful organization that supports working dogs, and they even supplied Piper with his famous vest.
Hi. Oh, you're such a good boy. Come on.